Hi everyone, good evening and a very warm welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis. This is the video for the 5th of July 2024. Now let's proceed and have a look at the pointers of discussion for the day. So first of all, we have the editorial segment, and here we talk about an Indian Express article. The title of this article is How Sierra Leone It Plans to Stop Child Marriage. This is a very important article. It highlights the gravity of the problem and the social evil that we called child marriage. So we have a look at some of the data that reflects upon the magnitude of this problem in Africa particularly, and we'll understand what are the provisions of this new law. Secondly, we talk about the news updates, and this is going to be followed by the last segment of legal news, where we have one news to cover. So with that in mind, let's proceed further and have a look at the title of this article first of all. It is How Sierra Leone It Plans to Stop Child Marriage. Let's have a look at the context. See, the president of Sierra Leone, which is a West African country, on Tuesday, it signed a law which bans marriage for children aged 18 years and younger. And not only that, apart from banning the practice of child marriage, it also imposes steep fines, that is to say, very heavy amount of fines on adult spouses. Also, additionally, this law, it also has certain, repercussions for, let's say, the wedding guests and those who officiate the wedding as well. So it means that it brings into its ambit and scope anybody who is, associated with abetting or in any way encouraging the practice of child marriage. This move, it was a victory for activists who had been long fighting to eradicate the widespread practice. This new law, it goes further than, many other similar laws in other African countries does. So the experts are saying that by penalizing people who enable the marriage, like the parents, officiant is essentially a person who, let's say, performed the religious ceremony or just to say who officiates the marriage. So all stakeholders, be it the parents or, those who are officiating the marriage or even the wedding guests, in addition to the husband, they are brought into the ambit of this law. Let's have a look at some data to figure out the large scale or the magnitude at which this practice is performed. So there are about 8 lakh girls who are younger than 18 who are married in Sierra Leone, and this is the data of UNICEF. UNICEF reported it 4 years back in 2020. And this number, please understand, it is such a significant chunk. So it is about a third of the girls in the country. Half had been married by the time they turned 15, and about 4% of the boys are wedded by 18. This is about as according to the data of Human Rights Watch. Now, under the new law, those who married as children, they can seek financial compensation. They also have a path out of their marriage, which is that they can file a petition for annulment of their marriage. As per a researcher at the Human Rights Watch, who focuses on women's rights and sexual health in Africa, this particular legislation, it is praised. And the approach of penalizing those who abet the marriage, it is also praised. And this scholar has said, and I would like to quote it out, the researcher, that the strongest aspect to me, it is noting that a child does not get married in isolation. Now, let's understand how widespread this practice of child marriage is. See, every year, at least 12 million girls who are minors, or to say who are younger than 18 years, they marry, according to the United Nations. And more than 650 million girls and women, they were married as children. South Asia, it has the largest number of child brides, about 290 million people, or 45% of the global total. Sub-Saharan Africa, it follows the lead with about 127 million people, or in percentage-wise, the figure is at 20%. According to a map of child marriages, which is maintained by Girls Not Brides, it's a global organization which works to end the practice of child marriage. So as per this global organization, 16 of 20 countries with the highest rates, they are in Africa. A report published this year by Equality Now, looking at 20 countries in Africa, found that only a few countries had full bans and that many did not adequately enforce the ban. Now, let's understand what are some of the problems that can come with marrying so young. Child marriage, it often leads to the girls, the brides, leaving and dropping out of schools. And we all know how essential, absolute essential education is. And these girls, they have to compromise on that because of the practice of child marriage. Pregnancies at a young age, it can cause long-term injuries and trauma. Sierra Leone, it is one of the deadliest places to give birth, which is even more dangerous for teenagers. They are forced to be adults because they are adults. This was said by, by a 26-year-old student and a program coordinator with Strong Girls Evolution, which is a networking organization for Sierra Leonean women, among other groups. She further adds that her family had begun pressurizing her to marry when she was just 10. Just imagine. At 10 years, we're just kids. We're yet to figure out our lives. And, let alone figuring out our lives, we're yet to figure out the kind of person that we are. A sense of individual identity is not yet developed. And at that such young age, she was pressurized into, starting her life with somebody else. So this is indeed a very, very grave problem. So she was, pressurized at the young age of 10 years to get married. And that she further states that because she, rejected that at the age of 15 as well. So she was disowned by her father. She said that she was worried that she would have to drop out of school. With less educated women because of all of this, she further adds. Many women face additional complications from another widespread cultural practice in the country, which is the cutting of the female genital. This is considered a human rights violation by the World Health Organization. About 61% of the girls in Sierra Leone, aged between 15 to 19, they have undergone female genital cutting, which can cause serious difficulties in childbirth. Now that we've understood the magnitude of this problem, let's understand how does this ban work. See, under the new law, this we've already touched upon very briefly. So this law, it has come into effect from Tuesday. So under this law, people who marry children, they can be imprisoned for 15 years, or they can be asked to pay a fine to the quantum or to the tune of $5,000. This is a stiff or a penalty which is on the higher side. Why? Because we're talking about a country where the GDP per capita, the gross domestic product per capita, it was about $433 in 2023, which is very last year. And this is according to the World Bank data. The law, it does not just apply to marriage, it also prohibits cohabitation, wherein there is cohabitation with adults and the adults live with children, or they have a sexual relationship with children. So that is also brought under the ambit of this particular law. Parents are also not allowed to consent to a child's marriage, and those who officiate the marriage, they cannot preside over one. Guests cannot attend a ceremony. In fact, anyone who aids or abets the marriage can face a 10-year sentence or a fine of about $2,500 or both. The ban, it aligns with a broad initiative in Sierra Leone to promote the rights of girls in keeping them in school and protecting them from genital cutting. There is another person called Nerida Thamburi. She's the head of African engagement for Girls Not Brides, said, "We want to look at Sierra Leone as being a leader on the continent that can influence other countries." So now let's talk about what are the obstacles to the ban. In other countries, criminalizing child marriage, it has driven the practice underground. Thamburi further adds that leading communities to close ranks and girls to have even fewer protections against the practice. For the law to have any real impact or effect, researchers and experts said that Sierra Leone's officials will have to build sustained relationships with communities, especially in the rural areas where child marriage it is very common. That would mean addressing poverty, which can lead families to marry their daughters off as children. It also means expanding efforts to educate communities about sexual and reproductive health. So while this is a very appreciated, applause worthy step, but also there has to be equal initiative and effort in implementation of this law, then only the problem would be addressed. So with this, we proceed to the national news, and this is the first update here. New horned frog species is discovered in Arunachal Pradesh. So a new species of forest dwelling horned frog, it has been discovered at the Tail Wildlife Sanctuary, and this happened in Arunachal Pradesh. The discovery, it was made by a team of researchers from the Geological Survey of India. This is in Shillong. Geological Survey of India in Shillong. And this happened in collaboration with their colleagues from the Geological Survey of India in Pune and Itanagar. The frog species has been named after the state's Apatani tribe, and the name given is Xenophris apatani. This discovery, it marks a significant addition to India's herpetofaunal diversity. India finishes on the top at Under 23 Asian Wrestling Championship in Jordan. In wrestling, India finished on top at the Under 23 Asian Wrestling Championship 2024 in Jordan. The young Indian grappler clinched a total 8 medals in freestyle wrestling, including 4 gold medals, 2 silver and 2 bronze medals. Government of India and the Asian Development Bank signed $170 million loan to strengthen health system preparedness. So the Government of India and the Asian Development Bank, they signed a $170 million policy-based loan. This is to consolidate and strengthen India health system preparedness and response capacity to future pandemics. The program builds on Asian Development Bank's partnership with the Government of India to strengthen its health system and adopt transformative solutions. The program will be anchored in major government's plans and initiatives, including the National Health Policy 2017, the Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Health Insurance Health Infrastructure Mission, then the National One Health Mission, and government efforts to strengthen human resources for health. Bansuri Swaraj appointed as member of the New Delhi Municipal Council. The Ministry of Home Affairs notified the appointment of Bansuri Swaraj as a member of the New Delhi Municipal Council. Swaraj is a member of parliament from the New Delhi constituency in the Lok Sabha and belongs to the Bharatiya Janata Party. During the council meeting, the NDMC, it also approved the proposal for procurement of 200 megawatt solar power. This is through Solar Energy Corporation of India. This is available in its ISTS tranche 11 for allocation on the long-term basis for 25 years. Now, with this, we proceed to the international segment, and this is the first update here. Hungary takes over rotation presidency of EU Council for about 6 months. Hungary has taken over as the rotating presidency. Hungary has taken over the rotating presidency of the Council of European Union for 6 months, with its focus on enhancing EU competitiveness. Hungary's European Union Affairs Minister, he outlined the 7 top priorities during Hungary's presidency. These priorities, they include enhancing the EU competitiveness, reinforcing European defense policy, then EU enlargement, stemming illegal migration, shaping the future of a cohesion policy, formulating a farmer-oriented EU agricultural policy, and addressing European demographic challenges. So these are the 7 priority areas during the presidency of Hungary for 6 months. India-Mongolia joint military exercise, Nomadic Elephant, it begins in Meghalaya. So the 16th edition of the India-Mongolia joint military exercise, which is called Nomadic Elephant, it began at the Foreign Training Node in Amrohi in Meghalaya. The exercise, it is scheduled from 3rd to 16th of this month, 2024. It involves 45 Indian personnel from Sikkim Scouts and other arms, and personnel from 150 Quick Reaction Force Battalion of the Mongolian Army. This exercise, it is aimed at enhancing joint military capabilities for counter-insurgency operations under the UN mandate, focusing on semi-urban and mountainous terrain. With this, we come to the legal update segment for the day, where we have an update from the Bombay High Court. Consensual relationship not licensed to exploit partners sexually, physically, or financially, the Bombay High Court observed. Even if there is a consensual relationship between a man and a woman, it does not give one a license to exploit the partner, the Bombay High Court said on Wednesday, while denying bail to a man who was booked for outraging modesty, for abduction, extortion, rape, and unnatural sex. The name of this particular matter is Pritam Chandulal Oswal versus the state of Maharashtra. So this has brought us to an end of DNA. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day ahead.